When it comes down to it, I think that this is a game of poker and chess with the Fed right now. I think they know a lot more than they put off and they tell people. And so lately we're seeing some news come out about how jobs data isn't that bad. The soft landing, as we see on the screen right now, might be the actual approach of what's going to happen. And I'm not buying it. I put out a tweet today, and it started getting didn't quite go viral, but it got more views and more likes than they normally get on one of these tweets I just put out today, talking about kind of the way I see this going down and why it makes me so bullish on precious metals in this environment. I'm going to get into that in this video, in this live stream, just to talk about basically how this can unfold. And I really only see it happening one way. And I've been looking up some, like, my big thing is pattern recognition. When I'm looking at the stock market, when I'm looking at the federal funds rate, just things in general, I'm looking for patterns. And I found a pattern just this morning. I was looking up, comparing the 2008 chart to today. And we're going to get in that in this video. But this is the tweet I put out today. If you're not following me over there on Twitter, I was actually going to take a leave from that app, but I decided to start going on there ever since Musk bought it out. But this was the tweet I put out today. So it picked up a little bit of steam, a little bit more likes and retweets, got like 53 retweets and 300 likes or something on that. So that's a little bit more than average. And I basically gave my rundown in a nutshell, and we're going to get into it in more detail in this video of how this can play out with the Fed and basically the real poker hand that Powell is playing. And I think it involves CBDCs. I think it involves reversing course. But overall, this was a tweet I put. History repeats itself. The Fed will drop rates just as fast as they raise them. Money printer will go burr, and the safe haven assets will skyrocket. That's my opinion. And I stand by that. It's been my opinion for a while. But lately, we're starting to see some correlation in these charts here from the past. So this is what happened in the 2008 scenario. Ironically, it went from 1% on the federal funds rate, jumped it up to just over 5%, and the gray period is the recession that followed, the 2009 crash. And then the market sold off, and as we all know, from here to 2011 is when precious metals skyrocketed. The money floods into safe haven assets. Now, what's interesting is if you were to take out a ruler, and I'm going to get into let's go to the actual chart. So this is just, so I just wanted to bring that up. If you're not following me on Twitter, would appreciate you following me over there on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm trying to get a little bit of diversity going on the social medias lately. But let's go to the actual more detailed chart here. If you were to take out a ruler and measure from here to here, and then from here to here, it's like within 0.1. How crazy is that? When you talk about correlation patterns and stuff, this is just a pattern point of view. But the federal funds rate was raised from 2004 until 2006. They raised it almost exactly the same amount that they just raised it right now, a little bit over 4%. So they went from 0 to 4.33, and they went from 1% to 5.3. So literally bumped it up just a bit over $4. And then what happened next? Catastrophe. You can only raise it so much before the people can't afford the houses anymore. The divide becomes so far, and people just aren't willing to pay that kind of an interest rate on these homes. And then when that happens, you have a housing bubble. And so right now we're seeing them raise the rates. It's like, how high can they go? Well, they've raised it really fast and really sharp. Does that look like it's going to create a soft landing? We've never really raised rates into a recession. In my opinion, I think we should have a gray period right here. So this gray period is how you know what a recession is. So they raised rates, it plateaued for a little bit, and then that popped the bubble. Now the difference this time around, which makes it far worse, is A, there's inflation this time. So they have to keep hiking it until inevitably it collapses. But B, it's had so much time to coil up. The longer they kept the federal funds rate at 0, they were giving away money for so cheap for so long that this made a pressure coil, and it's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And now you have them raising it as fast as they can. And what's going to happen with all of that pressure that they created? You gave away all this free money for over a decade, and then now you just think you can just out of nowhere jump it up that fast, and then you're going to expect, as they said in this, they're going to expect, oh, it could be the soft landing scenario. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. What I think they do is they turn around, they reverse course, and then they start the money printer back up. I really see this being the only scenario that can happen with the Fed. Um, if they basically keep raising it like this, do you see another scenario in the chat? Somebody else can, maybe I'll look at the comments and somebody else could see a different scenario here, but that's all I can see happening. Now, if they do this, what will happen if they reverse course? So what we're talking about, just go back to this chart. If my scenario plays out that I've been talking about here, they're going to reverse course and start dropping the rates. They're only raising it this fast so that they have some room to drop it so that they can start the money printer back up. Now, if they do that, there will be a lack of trust in the DXY. We've already seen the DXY. Hang on, let me pull me over here. We've already seen the dollar index pull off of the top highs. It was up at about 114, 115, pulled down, and it's down to 103. Now, that's why you see this jump in precious metals. When the DXY pulls back a little bit, you see a jump in precious metals. Now, what happens if there's a total lack of trust in the dollar? If Powell exposes that he's holding a poker hand in front of him and that he's bluffing, and he reverses course and starts the money printer back up, the DXY would plummet, safe haven assets would skyrocket. It would be an exact scenario. It would be like 2009 to 2011 on steroids. That's what I think would happen, and that's what I think would play out. Now, could you time it out perfectly? So say in a hypothetical scenario, this is not financial advice, this is complete hypotheticals, and I want your opinion on this as well. So please put a comment down below and hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button, would appreciate you hitting the like button so these videos can get out there to more people. Would really appreciate that if you take that split second to hit the like button. But basically, if Powell reveals that he's bluffing, what would happen is everybody would have a lack of trust in the DXY and the dollar would plummet. Now, if the dollar plummets, that would make precious metals skyrocket in the same way that it did in 2009 to 2011. Don't believe me? We could pull up the chart and show you exactly what it looked like from 2009 to 2011. Go to 2009. This is silver's chart. Was down at $9 at one point in 2008, 2009, skyrocketed to $50 an ounce in that time period. In that same time period, if you pull up the DXY, you will see that the DXY plummeted in that time period down because people weren't trusting the dollar. Why was that? Because we just got through a recession and people weren't trusting the dollar because they dropped the federal funds rate down so fast. So if you go back to this chart, when they did this, when they dropped the federal funds rate that sharp and that fast, it made people not trust the dollar. Wait, if you're just giving away dollars for free now? If somebody is just giving away an asset and just giving it away for nothing and just making it super easy to have access to something, that's just the laws of nature. If you give something away for too easy, too cheap, people won't value it. People value constrained items, things that are hard to get. So if you make the dollar extremely easy to get, of course it's going to cause a sell-off in the DXY and people to leave the dollar and go into safe haven assets like silver and gold. So that's what I see happening. Now, ironically, it's a reverse of this on steroids in a sense. So if they continue to raise rates like this, and they're already raising it as fast as they are, now if they turn around and reverse course and they start dropping it down, what could happen is that money could flood into silver and gold. And in the time period that does happen, that they do turn around, I think that it could cause like a short-term breakdown in the stock market. So what they could do is they could, hypothetically speaking, not financial advice, if they continue to raise rates, say they get it up to 5, 6, 7%, they just keep raising it up and then hold it like this. So last time they caused a catastrophe, they raised it up from $1 to a little bit over 5%, 5.3, and then they just kind of hovered it there for a year. And as it hovered there, less and less people bought houses, less and less people were buying things because money was more expensive. So when they did that, then eventually it caused catastrophe. And what do they do when they cause catastrophe? When the market starts tanking and selling off, they start the money printer back up and they make money easier to get access to. So they're literally doing that right now. I would argue that this is almost an exact replica of how fast, and it's even more sharp how fast they've raised it, dramatically more sharp on how fast they raised it, about the same percentage. So about 4% more off the bottom there, a little bit over 4% off the bottom, a little bit of 4% from 2004 to 2007. They raise and raise and raise it. This is just my hypothetical here. They continue to raise it. They cause a catastrophe. They cause the stock market to have a really bad sell-off. And then they turn around and they drop it in the same way that they did here. So it just seems to me like it's pretty obvious. But I wanted to, at least for everybody here on YouTube, to kind of break it down with you all on why I think this could happen. Now, could that present an opportunity is the question. And I'm asking that to myself as well. If you if they continue to raise this as fast as they can, like how fast would they turn around? Say would they let the market sell off for a good few months or something along those lines, or would they just immediately reverse course within a week? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. So that could provide a short-term opportunity, or it just immediately floods into silver and gold, or floods into even stocks and things like that, because people want to get rid of the dollars in that scenario, and dollars are going to be really cheap and easy to get access to again. Um, Now, from a devious perspective, there's something I wanted to show in this video that some people might think is a little bit, I don't want to get too crazy out here, but I did see these pictures kind of roaming around the net. Now, I don't think these are real, but I kind of wanted to give a scenario here. If they were going to start doing stimulus packages again, if they were going to start the money printer back up and they were going to do things like that and give away a bunch of money again, what better way to implement a CBDC than to say, if you want to get access to the money printing that we're about to do again, if you want your stimulus again, we're going to give, the only way to get access to it is by CBDC. You have to download this app on your phone, and you're going to have to get it injected into your account via CBDC, and that's their way of rolling out the central bank digital currency. Could be something along those lines. And just to show you guys how scary the possibility of a CBDC is, this is kind of going from one end to another end really quick. Sorry, turn off these phones over here. Hang on. So this is how scary things could get. And again, this is not, I don't think this is real. I just wanted to kind of put it out there on how crazy it could get if they do roll out a CBDC. And the next slide I'm going to show you on my video here is about the CBDCs and how they've been trying to roll them out. So you could see something along those lines, like where it says, alert, funds not spent within the next 12 hours will be lost. Follow the links provided. Score, boost your social credit by whatever it is. Like that, when you see how crazy, and this is the scary one. I just wanted to quickly throw this in here. I really do think that this is what they're going. This is the ultimate true. When I put in the thumbnail the truth, I think this is the truth. I think they're trying to cause a catastrophe, though, so they have a reason to start the money printer back up. And when they do start the money printer back up, they're going to roll out something along these lines. And this is like, if there wasn't a time, if there wasn't something scary enough to make you want to have, when I have this brick of silver in front of me on these videos, it's clickbait, it's eye candy, it's all of that, of course. Excuse me. But at the same time, I try to remind my viewers what it's like to have real custody. This is custody of your money. I sent out another tweet earlier today on top of this one. I put, these are 3 questions you need to ask 3 questions about money the masses need to ask themselves. Do I have custody of the money? In this scenario on my desk, yes, I do. It's right here. The money's on my desk. But these are questions you need to ask yourself. If you have money in some app, some bank, wherever, do I have custody of the money? Do others accept the money I hold? Others around the world accept this as the reserve money to be paid in. Will my money hold its value? Slowly you will go insane and come to the 4th question, what is money? I put that out today after the other one, but that's the truth, and that's what I wanted to get at. But this is the scary thing. If they do roll out a CBDC, this slide here is what I wanted to show in this video. Imagine this rolled out. Imagine something like this rolled out. They tank the market. They start the money printer back up. And if you agree with me, and if you want this message to get out to more people, please hit the like button. If you want to warn more of our fellow Americans out there, please hit the like button. Please share the videos. Please hit subscribe. Do whatever you can. I would really appreciate it, because it's hard to get the algorithms in your favor. So if you take that split second, hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. But this is what scares me the most. Imagine they roll out some sort of stimulus, something along those lines of the CBDC. But this is what really opened me up to realize, wow, that's really scary. That's really scary. Imagine your phone popped up and it said payment declined. Turn on location services to allow ECB wallet to verify and process your payment. Now, I was watching Netflix recently, and I have VPNs, obviously, and Tor and all these things, right? it wouldn't let me watch one of the movies I wanted to watch or whatever on Netflix because the VPN was on. And then when I saw this, it reminded me of that, where I went, wait a minute. Imagine you couldn't have access to your money if you didn't turn your location services on your phone. And so they knew exactly where you were, exactly what, and then they had the ability to turn on or turn off that. Just it gets so scary when you take, it's like it's removal of layers of power and no checks and balances anymore. And it's like removal of the commercial banks. And if something like that rolls out in the future, where it probably will start as more of a buddy system, like they're not just going to get rid of all of the Chases and the Bank of America and all of that. I don't think it rolls out like that, but I think it could be like a buddy system in the beginning, and then slowly it all goes into just the central bank, and they have full control over everything. So let me move this, because this actually, having this on the screen scares me, and probably the algorithm doesn't like me showing that on the screen. But I just wanted to show my viewers that, that's scary stuff. And I think that it's part of the playbook. And so the next thing I was going to show in this video here is this little article on CBDCs. So CBDC projects pick up pace as 2023 kicks off. Progress on central bank digital currencies have been relatively slow, but a flurry of tests near the end of the year suggests CBDC initiatives are improving their pace as central banks try to determine the impact on traditional banking and payment systems. About a dozen CBDCs have launched, according to a tracker from the Atlantic Council, which adds 17 are in pilot and 72 are in research and development. 80% of central banks are considering CBDC or have already launched one. A well-designed CBDC can help provide a real-time view of risks and currency outflows and help implement specific and targeted measures to prevent financial contagions from spreading further in the event of crisis. In the event of a crisis. Well, they're creating the crisis. In the event of a crisis, this isn't a hypothetical, as they continue to raise the rates like this and act like it's just going to cause a soft landing, as they say, just like they said it was transitory. Remember when that was going on? Oh, this is going to be transitory. Inflation's transitory. It's no big deal. Was it transitory? Oh, it's going to be a soft landing. Is it going to be a soft landing when you sharply raise rates from 0 to over 4%, 4.3%? Is that really going to cause a soft landing? These words that they use. But it says, the thing is, they will use crisis as the reason to do these things. Crisis is the best way to take away American individual liberty and sovereignty. Crisis. That is their number one tool, because that's when people aren't thinking clear. When the stock market's selling off, when houses are tanking in price, when people can't afford rent, when inflation is running rampant, that's when you can get away with taking away people's liberties. You can say, oh, we're going to give you stimulus packages. Well, the only way you can get access to these stimulus packages is if you get it through the CBDC. So just download this little app on your phone, and we'll just inject it, boop it right into your phone. You want help, don't you? We're here to help you. We're the government. We're here to help you. You ever hear that line? Isn't that, I believe that was Ronald Reagan. He said the 9 scariest words in the English language is we're from the government and we're here to help you. Something along those lines. I think that's literally a Ronald Reagan quote. But something I wanted to warn all of my viewers about, that just, it scares me, because when I hear terminology like that, it seems obvious what they're trying to do. And it just, the more I see it, when you talk about 80% of central banks around the world possibly rolling out a CBDC, it just seems obvious what's next. And so the question becomes, do you time it? Can you time it perfectly? If they cause a catastrophe, the market sells off, and are you going to wait till silver pulls back? Say the entire broad market sells off, and this is one of the scenarios that could happen. Say you have the Fed raises it up over 5, 6, 7% or something along those lines, and then it tanks the stock market. Stock market starts selling off. Everything's in catastrophe mode. Silver might fall from 23 to down to, say, 21 or something along those lines, maybe even 20. But in that time period, will the premiums jump up in price? Will you even have access to the physical silver? Will you even have the ability to have custody of your asset? That's the question. Is like, because right now, To me, it's more than the idea of number go up. And I really personally do believe that silver and gold is going to be the safe haven place to be, just like it was in 2011, but on steroids, because now you have inflation running rampant. But the question really becomes, do I have custody of the money? You could have $1 million, but if it's in a CBDC, it's going to be scary. You know, I would much rather have access to my capital and have true custody of it than have to trust some sketchy digital type currency like that. So there's that aspect to it all as well. But one of the last things I want to bring up in this video is the actual inflation. So it's different between this time around and in the past. And I've talked about this in the past on my channel. In 2008, there wasn't inflation. 2009, 2008, there really wasn't inflation. This is a chart here talking about the inflation levels, or showing the inflation levels in the past. This time around, you have them hiking rates into a spot where they already have inflation. They're saying that they've dropped it down a little bit. It doesn't change the fact that it's at record highs. It's still up well over 7%. And that's if you trust their number. The real CPI figure is probably well over 15% right now, still way up. And they're raising the rates into that, and they're barely putting a scratch on that. It just seems to me, it seems like a perfect scenario. There couldn't be a more perfect scenario for precious metals, really. That's how I look at it right now. And obviously I have my biases, but that's kind of the way I see things going on right now. But let's get into some comments on here, because those were some of the main points I wanted to bring up in this video. We'll keep this live stream nice and short and do a few comments here. Go back. But kind of a random live stream where I just wanted to vent a little bit and talk about some of the things that I see going on. It really seems like it's a game of chicken in a sense. It's like a poker, chess, and chicken all together, where they're bluffing. They don't want you to know they're bluffing, but they're also playing a game of chess so that they can implement a CBDC, or that they can take away more liberties from people like they already have. I mean, they literally, just to show how tricky the powers that be are, and the algorithm probably won't like me talking like this, but passing through $1.7 trillion during Christmas, when none of the public could really object to it, is so outrageous. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around that. They passed $1.7 trillion during Christmas, during the holidays. They spent the people's money, that much of the people's money, like it was just whatever. Like it was buying dinner. Yeah, 1.7 trillion. Help out everyone else except for us. It seems so foolish, but then it almost seems like it's they're bluffing. It's just they're just outright fools or kids with a checkbook. But really, is it chess? Is the plan to make it so that you have the citizens so in debt? Like, how do you get somebody, like, if you think about the mob days, right? If you were in New York and the mobsters wanted to get their hold on you, they'd put you in debt. That was the easiest way to get somebody to be a free worker. You put them in debt to you. Well, hey, you owe us some money, so I need you to do this, this, and that for me. I need you to do that, this, and that. So how do they get more control and take away more of your individual liberties, more of the liberties in the republic? How do they get rid of your sovereignty? They put you more in debt without you even knowing about it. While you're celebrating Christmas with your families, pass through 1.7 trillion, spend more of the people's money. Add that deficit up to 34 trillion or some odd amount. I think it's 31.5 trillion right now. Add the 1.7, probably add some room on that. Somewhere around 34 trillion we're going to be at on the deficit. Meanwhile, all of this stuff is happening and they're talking about a soft landing and all of this. They have to print money just to offset the debt they're going to incur. They're going to have so much debt and so much interest on the debt. They're going to have to turn the money printer on just to offset the interest that they're going to have to pay on this. It's insane. Josmar Medea gave me a super chat for $2. I never miss the super chats. I appreciate that. Mr. Medina said, where should I buy my silver? I bought from, I'm not going to say a competitor's name out here, but you should be buying your silver from Mineral Exchange. That's where you should be buying your silver from. Mineralexchange.com. That's where you should be going to. If there's some people in here that might not know, I own an auction house for precious metals. There's probably some stuff that's under spot right now. I have a bunch of stuff ending tomorrow on the website. So I run weekly auctions on my website. I own an auction house, mineralexchange.com. If you want to get your metals through me, everything is tested and guaranteed through Mineral Exchange. So if you would like to do business with me, anybody who spends over $1,000 with my auction house, I call them personally. So if you want to have a phone call with me personally, you spend more than $1,000. Sometimes there's been times where silver has gone for under spot, and I'm talking with somebody on the phone for 30 minutes just because we did business together and they got a crazy good deal on the bar as well. So I specialize in more rare stuff, but if you want to check out my website, mineralexchange.com, I could show you in this video, but then people will be like, oh, he's shilling his company. But so I own 100% of it, so it's not a paid advertisement. So that's my little line on it. But Vacation Time says, let's see this week's listings. I'll show you guys. This week's listings, actually, so this is in front of me right here. I have a Rothschild gold bar. That's an actual, hang on, it's hard to focus my camera here, but I'll show you guys on the actual website. So this is my auction website. That is the Rothschild is currently, hang on, let me move this screen a little bit. That bar is currently at 7,000. We have this is an actual government issued 100-ounce silver bar. So if you follow the rare silver bars, it's like an actual, somebody used their silver certs to redeem. There's a huge write-up on this bar. It's actually over here on the table as well. We have a lot of rare stuff, but then we have some gold right now. So there's a 10% buyer's premium for the auction. So this comes out to about 1760 that's at. So this is actually, I believe, under melt right now. Both these 1-ounce gold coins are under melt right now. The platinum, I believe, is definitely under melt right now. A lot of the gold's under melt right now. There's rare silver bars. If you're not into vintage and rare silver bars, all the auctions start at 0 with no reserve. But I do have some just regular bullion as well on the website. Just some regular Scottsdales over there on the website. Some regular 1-ounce pieces. A lot of stuff under melt still. It ends tomorrow. The auctions end tomorrow every Sunday. So if you want to check out the website, mineralexchange.com, a lot of cool stuff on the website right now. Some Libertads. There's always usually a good mixture. So whatever's getting sent in gets put up on the website. But a lot of rare stuff this week, so it's going to be exciting. But let me go back. So if you want to check out, it's free. It's also, there's free price history and stuff like that. If you just want to study and you want to be a treasure hunter yourself, if you want to go to pawn shops and try to find the rare bars to send in and make a profit on that, all the auction history is free on the website. So if you want to just study a little bit, mineralexchange.com. You do have to register. It is very hard to put an email in. I know it's tough. It's a tough situation. You got to put the email in and verify yourself to get into the website. I know. But that is the price. That is the price. It's free. But you need to put your email in. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, no, you got to put an email in. Oh, how dare you, Rob? How dare you? Free, thousands of free price data history on there for everybody for free. But oh, no, don't ask for an email. Oh, no. I appreciate that, Zilla. Thank you, man. Let's get to a few more. We'll get to a few comments and we'll cut this. We'll do this a short little 30-minute video here. Just wanted to talk a little bit on what I think is going on with the Fed. Andrew says there's a museum in Florida with $6 million in gold and silver bars sitting in plexiglass case with no security from a ship. There's plenty of security there. That's Mel Fisher's museum, and there's plenty of security there. And Florida isn't exactly one of the places you want to be messing around. People in Florida, they're tough over there. I wouldn't mess around with people in Florida, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of security in Mel Fisher's museum. I've actually had some Matosha shipwreck bars, and I'm trying to get some Matosha stuff on the website. I'm working on a consignment coming in. So if you want to be part of Mineral Exchange, we do accept consignments. So if you want to be auctioned on mineralexchange.com, check out the website, and there's a consignment tab there. But I'm working really hard to get some more shipwreck stuff into the website. Some guy stole a gold bar, a few bags grabbed it. I'm not sure if they got away. I'd have to look up the history on that, but I know that's an actual museum. They have plenty of good history there. Nuclear Crypto said, I bought from you, Rob. Got a 10 ounce USVI bar for $280. Great deal. Thanks. I appreciate that, Nuclear. Thank you. I really appreciate it. JP says, why are banks and countries buying gold and not silver? Because for the longest time, they have considered gold money. So they have gold in their central banks. Gold is kind of the reserve asset worldwide. So it's already considered money to them. Silver kind of got demonetized. And that's where I see the value in silver. That's why it is so undervalued, is because it used to be a monetary metal. A lot of us see it as a monetary metal, but it's 50% used in industry. So would you rather have an industrial precious metal, or would you rather have a monetary precious metal, or would you rather have both? Personally, I'd rather have both. I like gold as well, but I think that's really what it comes down to. Is just universal acceptance, and gold is much more universally accepted. Did you see that the state of Missouri will be investing in gold and silver? I did not, but I will definitely write that down and look into it. That's interesting to me. That's why I always keep a pen and pad in front of me. I like to write down this kind of stuff. That's a good idea. I would like to make a video on that or look into it a little bit more. But honestly, these states should be doing something with the excess capital. That's what if I was in a position of one of these companies out there, like Tesla, for example, has $20+ billion sitting there liquid, I'd be buying up assets right now. These companies and states should be buying up assets right now. I think that'll be something that happens more and more often. India is buying silver. India is really big on gold, and they're part of the BRICS countries as well. So I've talked about the BRICS countries quite a bit in the past. Dave says, Rob, it is Bill SB 100. Let me write that down really quick. I think that'd make a great video, because more states should be doing that. That means they care about the people's money. They care about actually doing the right thing. That's why I don't want to go too big on a rant on that. But I mainly just wanted to make this video. I haven't been live in a little while. I need to start doing these more often. I've been really preoccupied with the auction house and with a lot of things going on. But doing my best to make some videos and put some content out for you all. A lot of crazy stuff happening in the markets right now. So I'm kind of sitting on the sidelines and I'm looking at what's going on. And really, I just don't see any way out for the Fed other than what we talked about in this video. What's their outcome? What can they do? They either cause a catastrophe or they don't. And it's like, but how is there a scenario where they continue to raise the rates like this where there isn't a catastrophe? Houses, who can afford to pay these kind of interest rates on houses that are already lofty in price? Everything doesn't add up. And then when I look at the rent prices, if the rent prices continue to go down, that means people can't get a renter in their building to pay for their mortgage. And if that doesn't happen, then you're going to see foreclosures come around the corner. And if foreclosures come around the corner, that's what we saw in 2008 and 2009. So I just don't see this. I don't see a good scenario happening with the Fed here. And it's almost like they want this to happen. It's almost like it's their playbook. And really, once you see past the smoke and mirrors, there's part of me that wishes I could go back in time, and I wonder if I was happier as just a little waiter kid at a skate park, not knowing everything about the monetary system like this, not knowing the way they entrap the citizens like this. I wonder. I don't know, but it does it's hard on you after a while when you understand this and you go and you walk around a city or something like that, and you start thinking to yourself, none of these people know this. They have no idea that they're working for nothing. They're just part of the hive, and they're working on this hamster wheel. And once you've kind of dug through the cage and you look back at the hamster wheel and you look at everybody running on the hamster wheel of life, working for money that they can print out of thin air, you start to go a little crazy. Like I was going around LA the other day, and I'm going around these streets and I'm just going, how many people actually understand what's going on about the monetary system? How many people actually question the dollar in their pocket and what gives it value? How many people even ask themselves the question of what is money that I work my entire life for? What's the point of it all? You start to get this kind of fatalistic attitude sometimes where it's like, can I help everybody or should I be worried about my own self sort of thing? But these videos kind of make me feel a little bit more whole. Even if there's 10 people in my live streams, if there's 20 people in my live streams, hopefully that helps them. And then they can tell more of their family, more of their friends, and there can be somewhat of a web effect where Americans can stand up and go, no, I don't like them taking away my individual liberties. I don't like them diluting my money anymore. And I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to protect me and my family. I'm going to protect us against what's going on over there. And this is really what kind of drives me and makes me happy, that at least this can at least spread a little bit of a web out there, regardless of how many people I reach out to. And that's why I'm working so hard every day. Like I've made it to a point where I could get a Sprinter van, take off, and start traveling around and do whatever I want right now. But what am I doing? I'm working hard and building my auction house and continue to hustle every single day. I work nonstop. I promise you all. I don't party, don't drink, don't do anything like that. All I do is work 24/7, 365. If I'm not making videos, trust me, I have other things I'm doing with the business. And the reason for that is because the more wealth I can accumulate, the more influence I can have, and the more I can try to change things in some way. And the real solution is if you fix the money, you fix the entire world. That's the core problem, is the money. And that's what they know. So the evils of the world want to dilute that money. They want to spend your money out of your pocket without you being able to do anything about it. And then telling you, hey, you got to pick up that tab. It's like you're out with some ritzy person and they're drinking drinks and all this expensive stuff at dinner, and they know that you're going to have to pick up the bill. And they're laughing at you, they're smiling at you, they're spending up a tab on Christmas Day, and they're looking back at you, the citizen, and going, yeah, we just rang up a $1.7 trillion package, and that fool over there is going to have to pick up the tab. Ha ha ha. Christmas Day. That's what they're doing right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it bothers me to my core. And the fact is, like, a lot of people, they talk about it, and we can talk as much as we want, but it's another thing to do something about it. It's another thing to go to your banker and you go, you know what? How much of my cash you got? Wire it in to here, and I want all silver bricks. And I don't want you to have any access to it. I want all of my capital. I want silver, gold, platinum, palladium, Bitcoin, whatever I can do to have access to my money and to leave your institutions until you start acting right. I'm going to do that. And if that should be the real movement. The real movement shouldn't be some individual stock or something like that. The real movement should be taking custody of your money, of your wealth, and exiting their crazy system where they try to entrap you. That should be the goal. And these are things that I'm sure this platform is not going to be fans of me talking about, but I've made it to a point where it's like, I just have to talk about this kind of stuff at some point. And that's why I'm trying to get a little bit of diversity going on. I'm doing the Instagram thing. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, at Rob Sultan on Instagram, there's better pictures of all the stuff that I show on these videos here. This is actually, believe it or not, this is a Rothschild Comex bar from 1935. One of the craziest silver bars I've ever owned. And it's just sitting on my counter like that. Swear, 5 years ago, I would have thought this was the craziest thing. I don't come from this, just so you know. Just so everybody in this live stream knows. Because the people in this live stream I'm sure you're the real ones of this channel. If I can randomly go live on a Saturday night, the 70 some odd people in here that are in this channel, you're the real ones that have been supporting me from day one, and I appreciate you. And it's like when I have this out on the counter in front of me, I forget to tell people that it's still crazy to me. It's still totally crazy to me. 6 years ago or whatever, I was just waiting tables. One day I'll tell my whole story about how I got involved in the business and stuff and how I've gotten to where it is now. But it's crazy sometimes when I look at some of this stuff and the stuff that I get processed through because I run an auction house. I get to see some of the coolest stuff around. And I'm excited to start making videos about that. And I have plans that I'm working on. There's going to be more updates going out there in the future. I mean, in the past, if you've been on this channel for maybe, say, 2 years ago, I was saying, hey, I'm working on a website. I got an idea. I'm working on a website. And a lot of people didn't believe me that I was going to roll out a website. And then now Mineral Exchange fully exists. In case you didn't know, Mineral Exchange has done nearly after this weekend, after Sunday, my auction house that I own 100% of will be done with its 1,200th auction. 1,200 auctions have been completed on mineralexchange.com. And all of the price history, it's all there on the price history. So if to go from just a waiter kid to running an auction house and it growing at this rate, it's kind of insane. And it's a lot of work. And sometimes I get a little bit blinded to how much has been accomplished, but it still gets to me a little bit where it's like, man, there's some real progress going on and I'm excited about this. So that's basically my little rant is I'm doing everything in my power to try to share what I know now about the monetary system and what I know about the game of chess that's being unfolded. If they're trying to put the citizens in checkmate, I want to tell the citizens how to play chess. That's just off the top of my head. That's what I think is happening right now. I think they're trying to maneuver their chessboard so that they can go check, 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 CBDC, checkmate. And they're getting real close to that. And the best thing I can do is try to train the citizens that at least I can reach out to on these social medias and the people out there that I have some sort of access to how to play chess in their game. And the way you can play chess is by exiting and owning industrial precious metals, owning and having custody of these metals, owning collectibles, metals. The scary thing about real estate is you don't really own it. There already is taxation without representation on real estate in a sense, when you think about it. So they have property taxes every single year, and you have never declared, it's unrealized capital gains taxes. That's what it is on real estate. When we're all freaking out about how Yellen said that, they already do that with real estate. So if real estate is costing more money now, it's high prices on the real estate. The interest rate is super high now, so it's expensive year over year to own real estate because the interest rates are so high. Is that a safe haven right now? I don't see it really as a safe haven right now. Do you? So if you're really good at real estate and you found a property that can cash flow and all of that, then maybe that's a good ticket. But really, the safe haven is building your own business, having cash flow, and exiting their crazy system that pays you no interest, nothing, and owning tangible metals, owning things that you can actually have custody of, and then sitting on the sidelines while you exit the system until things play out. And that's how I kind of am looking at it myself. But that's really the only solutions I can come up with off the top of my head. But really, that's if you want to know the number one playbook of getting people to work for free is you entrap them in debt and you make them feel like they are going to be stuck in debt for the rest of their life. That's why it's not like the funny thing is to me is I have a chip on my shoulder, and yes, I do like making fun or not making fun, but kind of picking on the idea of going to college. But really what I'm trying to do, I have a good heart about it. I don't like the idea of entrapping youth in debt. Not only entrapping them in debt, but secure debt on their life. It's made that way by design. They want you to be a W-2 employee for the rest of your life. They want you to get that college degree, get a W-2 job so they can take money right off the top. If you own your business, you get to play with that money before they get to the bottom line. But if you're a W-2 employee, it gets cut right off the top. I like that business. I like their business. I'll tell you what, you got a $5,000 W-2 check? No. You got a $3,000 W-2 check. We take that 2 G's right off the top. You don't get to play with that 5 G's like an entrepreneur does. No, we take it right off the top. That's the stuff they don't teach you in college. If you have a W-2 job, you say you make $5,000 a month. No, you don't. You make 32. You make 3,000, 32, whatever it is, because that money gets taken right off the top. You don't get to play with it. Whereas an entrepreneur, they got expenses. They got things. They got office bills. They got things that they got to do with that money. You get to play with it a little bit, which is a lot different than what happens with a W-2. But college makes W-2 employees entrapped in debt that have to be stuck in debt, and then that's the system. So how do they get control of everybody? Well, they dilute the entire system, and they put everybody in debt. And so that's a good thing to show on the video. If you're not signed up to mineralexchange.com, please do. But I would say that this is how they do it. Because do you know who has to pay that back? Do you know who has to pay back that $32 trillion there? Now add another 1.7 to the mix. So now we're talking over $34 trillion in debt. Me and you got to pay that out. These politicians ain't going to pay that. That's you and I that's going to have to pick up that bill. They're spending and spending and spending away, and we got to pick up the tab. And so all of us are going to have to work to pay that off. And it's crazy. So that's really what it comes down to. Jake and Loney says college degree equals salaried drone, and that's the truth. And it's I will never stop saying that. And there's some people out there, and I've dated some women that went to college, and they're not very happy with the idea of that I say college is a scam as much as I do. But I won't back down about it. I'm not going to congratulate somebody on their college degree. Oh, you were good at doing your chores. Did you do your chores well? You got 3.8 on your chores. Wow. That's really impressive. You know what's impressive? Building a business and getting it to its first million in revenue. That's impressive. Put that on your resume and see if you can't find a job. That's valuable. People don't understand what value is anymore, and that's the college system has taken away the idea of what value is. It's not a golden ticket. It shows that you were good at doing chores. And that's some people, corporations like those kinds of individuals because they're not competitive. I was not the best employee because I immediately would want to be an entrepreneur. Coin dealers, so that's pretty much what happened with me. So it's really just that's the idea is you get individuals to work to pay that off. And how do you get them to continue to work and work and work to pay this off? Well, you just keep adding to the debt. The only revenue they can get in is from you and I. So if they're taking in $4 trillion a year in revenue, that's where they're going to get the money from. It's going to be from you and I. So it's insane. And then, these 87,000 new individuals that they just hired. Oh yeah, that's going to go after the billionaires. No, it's not. It's going after the middle class. That's the ones that are going to pick up the tab. And ironically enough, if you can print as much money as they've printed, well, then where's the reason to even be taking money from the citizens? Just print yourself out of it. And they'll probably do that in addition. In addition to offset the interest payments that they're going to have to pay from raising the rates, they're probably going to just print more money to offset it. And so it's a circus show. It's an absolute circus show. And it just makes you feel like it's that way by design. That's what it really comes down to. So I'm proud. I'm proud to be born in America. I love America. I believe in America, and I believe in the Constitution, and I love everything about it. And that's why I make these videos, and that's why I continue to build, and that's why I continue to be an entrepreneur, because I'm sad with the direction my country is going. I feel like it's completely lost its way, and it doesn't even, most of the people running the show wouldn't be able to look at you in the eye and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to tell you that this is a constitutional republic, excuse me. Most of them can't recite the Pledge of Allegiance and go, and to the republic for which it stands. Most of them will tell you it's a democracy. It's not. But that's the leaders that we have. And they're literally taking tax money from people and halting the House of Representatives, halting Congress just to cause, it was just a circus show the other day. This stuff that's going on, it's ridiculous. And these are the individuals we pay. We pay them to run the country. It's ridiculous. So one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of Elon Musk, for example, and some people like him, some people don't. Some people say he's good, some people say he's bad. The truth is he did what he did. And as far as I can tell, things are running the way he said he was going to run them with this acquisition. But I am a fan of him because he made so much money that he got the power that he needed to actually make real change in the world. And that's the reason why I want to build. The reason I'm building my company and I want to get to a position of power is so that I can make a real impact and actually get this message out to more and more people. And so I keep my ultimate playbook, I kind of keep a little bit close to my chest because I'm a little bit worried that if I keep talking the truth and I keep giving this information out, that it's not good, But part of me has made it to a point where it's like, I don't really care. I want to speak my truth. I want to speak my truth. I want to say how corrupt this all is, and I want to get this message out there to more people. And so I'm doing everything I can to put myself in that position. But that's my random little rant on what's going on. 15 times they had to vote for the Speaker of the House. What a bunch of fools. It's true. It's like that 15 times. I didn't even know that. And that's why I like doing these. That's why I miss doing these live streams so I could talk with you all in these comments, because I didn't even know that. I knew it was a circus show. I didn't know it was that much of a circus show. The banks should be paying you, not the other way around. I love that. JBG, that is the truth. If somebody gives you their assets, for example, in my industry, in the precious metals industry, if I'm late on an invoice, which I never am, but say you are, you have to make that call and say, I owe you 1% every 2 weeks. That's the high rate. The lower rate would be a point a month. And that's like the minimum, which is 12% annual. If you have somebody else's capital in my industry, the going rate is at a bare minimum 1% a month you owe that individual for holding their capital, which is still, if that's them being nice to you. You know, if they're really nice, maybe you can get an 8% annual or something like that. But when you're taking a loan, if for example, I would take as much capital as I could get at 5% annual, I would take as much as possible. I would never get that loan because it's too low. But what does that show you? In an Austrian economics model, where you have entrepreneurs taking the loans from each other and entrepreneurs giving out the money to each other that actually value each other's time and their capital, of course they're going to pay a substantial interest to hold that capital. What am I going to do? If you gave Mineral Exchange an extra $1 million of capital, what's Mineral Exchange going to do? They're going to turn that into more money. So of course they're going to take that $1 million, and of course they're obligated to pay you that 5% on that. So if somebody gave me $1 million loan, I'd be obligated to pay them, 5-10% or whatever the interest rate that was agreed upon. But what does the bank pay you? We give these commercial banks our capital, our blood, sweat, and tears, and they give us not even 1%. Not even 1 point a year. Not even that. You'd be lucky to get that. And you have inflation running at the rates it is. These banks are crazy. It's insane. It's so true what that individual just said. So that's how I feel about it. John says Rothschild gold bar, eyes on that. It's a pretty cool one. It's a pretty cool one. It's right here. But that's how you know that my auction house is the real deal, because it's right there. It's no joke. One of the big things for me is the photography. That's like kind of the artistic thing that I like doing with the auctions, is doing really good photography on the item. So if you want to see a more close-up picture, I have stuff on my Instagram and videos and stuff if you want to see more of a pictures like that. But if you want to see the actual pictures of that bar close-up, go to mineralexchange.com, make an account. I know you got to put an email in. I know. It's tough. Once in a while, you might get an email sent to you showing next week's auctions. I know. It's dreadful. It's tough. Got to do what you got to do. Maybe don't register. But all the price history is free. Everything on there is free. If you want to bid, it's just $1 to verify your account. It's not to make a profit. It's just to verify you and so that you can bid. But got to put an email in. Okay. I don't like to just have bots and stuff like that being allowed. If you go to like, am I allowed to say that? I don't care. Like with eBay or whatever, they have softwares where people do sniping softwares and things like that. If I don't make it so that people have to register an account, there could be like softwares and bots and things like that. And I'm not into, if somebody puts like a false name and like fills it out weird, I just delete their account. I manually just delete everyone's account that does a false name or whatever, so just put in an email, put in a name, you're in, it's not a big deal. But it's for the best of the entire community in there. And when people see my plans for Mineral Exchange, when they see, trust me, I'm working on some stuff with the website. And what's cool is you can go in the price history and you can see stuff that you might have missed out on. And as I start rolling more, like just this week, we have some generics up. I told people that there was going to be some generic silver up. That it's not just going to only be the rare stuff. This week we have the rare. A Rothschild gold bar is a Rothschild gold bar. But at the end of the day, there's going to be some generics up there as well. So we're going to be able to accurately find out what silver's premium truly is. In the future, as the website continues to progress, we're going to see what the true price of a 100-ounce silver bar is. And that's why I run my auctions. I start them at 0 with no reserve, because I want to see what the true premiums are. And with the website, we're going to get to see every single week what the true detachment is on silver. So it's going to be exciting to see it roll out. And I have plans for the future with the website. Right now, to be honest with you all, that website, I would consider it beta 2. It's not beta 1. There's a second rollout iteration of the website. So I'm working on like the full run. I don't want to get too much into what's going on with the website, but I'm working on it a lot. Right now, it's fully operational, and there's already items up every single week, usually around 50 to 100 items every single week, but it's going to start ramping up pretty soon. Don't take my word for it. Put your email in and watch. I know it's tough. It's tough to put an email in. But then I don't know about the prices reaching infinity model. So there's some individuals out there that will say, it's going to get to a point. If you look up what happened with in Weimar, Germany, right? Like that chart is pretty wild when you look at gold to what did the Reichsmark? I forget what the currency was called back then, but when you look up that chart, that's where people think that it could go to infinity. What I think could happen, I think the dollar will be considered the main reserve currency. I think there will be more reserve currencies than the dollar. I believe that will happen, but I think the dollar will be the main reserve currency for the next 5-10 years minimum. But I do see the DXY plummeting, and I do see more people exiting and having other choices. So there might be a currency that's a reserve currency in the future that backs their money to gold and puts the dollar in a tough place. And that's what there should be. If you're going to declare that you're the reserve currency, there should be fair competition. There should be fair free market competition to make sure that you're doing the right thing with your currency and you're not printing it and diluting it at will and printing away the world's money and stealing everybody's time and labor. There should be fair competition so that another currency could pop up and give people the option to choose that currency instead of this one. That's what free market capitalism does. It allows it so that if somebody is not making the best item or doing the best thing with whatever it is that their service is, that there could be competition that puts them in their place with checks and balances. That's why I believe in Austrian economics. That's why I believe in free market capitalism. There should be competition with the currencies, and that's what I see happening in the future. I want to be in the asset that they inevitably back their money to ahead of time. I want to exit their system ahead of time and take advantage of that. That's where I see the value is with precious metals, and the custody is the biggest thing for me. But my conservative price target, not financial advice for silver, I think it could easily get, I think right now it should be over the 2011 highs. Right now. It should be 50, 60 right now as I'm making this video. I genuinely think it should be there. If we do see the DXY fall, say 20, 30 points, you could see silver be in the triple digits. Easily. It's such a small market cap. I mean, to put in perspective, gold's around 10 to 12 trillion, something like that, in that range on the market cap. Excuse me, silver's far under 1 trillion. Far under 1 trillion. Some people have even said it's like as small as a couple hundred billion. Maybe even smaller than that, because we don't really know, because it's an industrial precious metal that's being eaten up and then put into landfills. So you don't know the exact market cap of silver, but you know that it's far under 1 trillion. So it's far less than 1/10 of the amount of gold out there. Far less. And it could be a 100th for all we know, but it's definitely less than a 10th. So to move that needle is not going to be very hard. Industrial precious metals could easily skyrocket in these types of scenarios. So that's why I'm so bullish on platinum, by the way. Actually, before we end this live stream, I'll show you platinum really quick. It's been having a really good run up with platinum recently. Let's go over that chart really quick. Now, this is the 3-month chart on platinum. At its low, it was at 168. Right now, it's at almost 1,100. It actually tapped. I think on the Kitco Ask right now, it's at 1,100. I think this is a little bit below on this chart, but pretty crazy run up in platinum over the last few months here. Last 6 months in platinum. So that breakthrough 1,000 was actually a pretty big deal. And by the way, I think we actually sold. Hang on here. If you want to see the way the website works, this is how it looks if you make an account. So sneak preview. But you can see the auction history here. And I think we actually, just to show you guys that stuff goes for pretty fair deals here. There's a 1 ounce platinum. That's more of a rare one, but there was actually, I believe we sold a 10 ounce platinum bar a week or two ago. Let me see here. So you can actually go through the entire price history of the website. There's a palladium. Look at all the palladium we sold. There's some pretty cool deals on the palladium too. Where is that platinum bar? I might have scrolled past it. I know that we sold a 10 ounce platinum bar recently. I don't have my keyboard in front of me. If I had my keyboard in front of me, all you have to do is click the little search up here, and you can actually search the entire website. I could actually show you guys that. Hang on, I'll show you how cool this website is that I built. That's how easy it is. You can search, imagine as this website continues to grow, how much price histories you're going to be able to find and see what stuff sold for in the future. You're going to be able to actually have real price comps that are there forever. And it's that easy to search any single item. So I was interested in seeing what the 10-ounce platinum bar sold for, and all you have to do is search 10-ounce platinum. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I wish I had that tool when I was a treasure hunter. I can make, if people are looking to make some extra money, going to coin shows and going to pawn shops and coin shops with my website and being able to use the search feature to see what stuff is going for and finding rare bars in the wild, you could make a lot of money doing that. That's where I made my first 100 grand. I started with literally zero, and I made 100 grand by flipping bars out of pawn shops and coin shops with this kind of data. And I'm giving away that data for free. So there's really no excuse. If people want to start making some money out there, you can do it pretty easily. But I was just curious what this sold for. So you have to add on the 10% with the auction. Keep in mind, all the auctions start at zero with no reserve, so you can factor in the 10% when you're making that bid. So this sold for, what's that, 960. Add 960 to that is about, what's that, a little bit over 1,100? Yeah, 10,560 is what that sold for. So for a 10-ounce vintage Johnson Matthey bar, that bar recently went for, what's that, $40 over spot? It's a pretty good deal for a 10-ounce Johnson Matthey. If you do your research on, actually, no, I think that's, wait a minute, 10,500. That's under melt. Wait, my math is completely off right now. Hang on. That bar sold for $10,560, and right now spot's at 1,100. Excuse me. So that 10-ounce platinum bar, this is, when is this? This sold December, in the beginning of December. That person is up already more than $500 because you have to add in premium on that. The premium's probably about $50 minimum on that. So that person who bought this bar is already up like 10% on this bar, and they won it on the auction site. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. I did teach myself criminal. I did teach myself. But I don't want to get too into it, but yeah, it took me about 3 years to build my website. It was a lot of work. But there's so much that goes into it, because it's one thing when you tell yourself, like, yeah, I'm going to build a website. I'm going to build an auctions website. How hard is eBay to build? It's not that big of a deal. It's like 3 years later, you have to learn how to how to upload, how to do the auctions, how to do the timers, how to code that into it, how to do the photography, there's so many different things that I never thought about learning, how to do watermarks on photos, how to edit, there's so much stuff that goes into it that I had no idea. And now as I talk to you on this live stream, I'm on a supercomputer with 4 monitors over here. I posted it on my Instagram recently, but I've been building supercomputers lately because I'm weird like that. That's the things I do with my time. But yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into things. I promise you. But I'm really excited to see it growing like this. And in the future, people, trust me, like 2 years ago, people were saying, oh, you don't have a website. You just say that in your YouTube videos. You're not really working on something, this, and that. Now it exists. It's done over 1,200 auctions on the website. A lot of people said, oh, auctions on precious metals, that's not real. That's not going to work. 1,200 auctions later. You guys, I don't hear them as much, but they used to say that in the comments. People in here, I'm sure they remember. Just remember that when you're starting your business, there'll be people that doubt you. There'll be people that put you down. And then eventually, if you keep your head down and you don't give up, that's the key, is most people, they give up. But if you keep going at it, and you keep going at it day in, day out, day in, day out, and you have that vision, eventually it will become a reality. And I believe that deeply. So sometimes it gets me a little emotional thinking about the process of building stuff, but I was really excited to get it going. Zilla remembers. Zilla's been here from day one. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I used to do auctions live and things like that. And coding a website it's one thing to get the website coded, which takes about a year usually, but it's another thing to know how to operate it. And then to build a team and have employees and things like that there's a lot of work that goes into things. But anyway, all those auctions end tomorrow, by the way. And all the price, if you don't even want to bid or anything, the price history is free if people want it. Just like I showed you how to look up a 10-ounce platinum bar, you can do that on any bar. So if you want to see what all the Rothschilds have gone for on the website, you can literally just look up that on the website and you can see all the price history. So it's pretty cool, especially when you think about how it continues to grow. And now there's 1,200 separate auctions to look at for price history and all of that. JBG, you know what? I like the dude, to be honest with you. I like the dude. I try to stay out of commenting on certain things so that I can keep growing on YouTube and on the social medias and stuff. But I think people know what my stance is. I think people that watch my videos know my stance on and who I would agree with or disagree with or something along those lines. I think people can read me pretty well. I'm a libertarian. I believe in sovereignty for everyone. I believe in free market capitalism. I believe in liberty. I believe in the constitutional republic. I believe in the Constitution. These are all things that I care about. I'm not right or left. I'm libertarian, which means get off my lawn. In English, if you want to know what the definition of libertarian means, it means get off my lawn. If I want you on my lawn, you can come on my lawn. Otherwise, get off my lawn. That's what being a libertarian means. And I think more people should embrace the American way of get off my lawn. This is my lawn. Get off of it. That's the American way for everybody that is an American. One person, criminal, said, I took the red pill and the blue pill, spit both of them in the garbage. I'll tell you what. I took a red pill, and then it didn't hit, and I took another one, and I took another one, and all of a sudden they all just at once, and the whole world is a scam. And you can't get it off your mind after a while. You start realizing like it is what it is. And so all you can do really is the YouTube videos. You all are my therapists in a sense because I get to vent and you get to listen. I have individuals out there that will listen to my crazy self. And so I appreciate you being my therapist out there, people in this live stream. I appreciate it. And that's why I do these live streams and it's why I make these videos still. I don't care. One of my videos the other day got 40,000 some odd views. This one might get 100, 200 views. I don't know how many views it'll get, but I enjoy talking with everybody here because it makes us all feel like we're not crazy, you know? Because if these conversations that we have in the comments, that we have in the live streams here, most individuals in the real world would be, they're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. My money's mine that's sitting in an app on a phone. That's mine. They're crazy. Raising the rates. What could go wrong? You know, but it's like, I believe in frequencies. Sometimes you put out a certain frequency and you attract the right frequencies back to you. And we're like that. We're very, like it's almost like humans are almost like a radio wave and certain ones are on certain frequencies and you tap into that and it's magnetic to certain people and you reach out to those certain people. And I hope that my channel does that where I reach out to certain people. And I've had phone calls when someone spends, you know, like I said, if you spend over $1,000 on the auction site, I like to call people. I usually will call them within a few days after the auction website, after the auction. And I like to talk with them. And turns out they're like-minded. We usually have the same kind of thought process and we usually will rant for 30 minutes, an hour talking on the phone, you know, and it's nice because it makes you realize, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this world, you know? But yeah, it's tough when you know things like this and you walk through cities and stuff and you just see everybody working like in the hive and working day in, day out. And it just makes you wonder, like, they have no idea, do they? They have no idea what's going on and how this all, they went to college, got the job, did the thing, and they're just on that hamster wheel. Running. And then they have no idea that it's designed to make them on that wheel forever. It's made that way by design. And then you hit 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Then before you know it, it's over. And it's like what you do in that in between is what matters. But if you're just giving away your time for nothing, money is our stored time and our stored labor. That's what money is. When I look at this Rothschild gold bar, or when I look at the Rothschild silver bar here, the Rothschild gold bar is actually, it's a consignment being auctioned tomorrow. But the silver bar here, when I look at this, I remember days of living in the back of my car, traveling state to state. I remember specifically being on State Street in Utah, sleeping in the back of a car, and I couldn't figure out how to get the heater on in the car. And it was snowing outside. And it was this piece of junk car. And I didn't have the chains. And I remember sleeping in the back of the car just so I could go to a coin shop the next day that I thought there was going to be a good score there. I had no guarantees. I vividly remember being on State Street in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, and just sleeping in the back of my car and going, I have no idea how I'm going to get back to Vegas because it's probably all iced out on the 15 to get back to Vegas. I remember those days. And so when I look at my stored labor, I look at my stored time, I remember those journeys. That's why I like having custody of my assets. That's why I like having silver and gold bars. That's why I like being in collectibles. That's why when I wear the Rolex on my wrist, today I'm not wearing it, but when I do wear a watch, it's not to be I guess it is to be a show off a little bit, but at the same time, it's more so looking at that trophy going like, I remember that. I remember what it took to get to a point where I could afford a $20,000, $30,000 watch. And that's why it kills me that there are people that give away their time and their labor to work for money that they can print out of thin air, because that would mean all of that was worthless. All of that hard work, all the dedication of traveling and treasure hunting and all these things that I had done, waiting tables, all the things that got me to the place where I am today, I wouldn't have anything to show for it because it was just all paper that could be printed out of thin air. And it's sick when you realize that these individuals that passed that $1.7 trillion bill and they disguise it as if they're doing something good, and they put that deficit up to where it is. These are the individuals stealing your time and your labor from you. Your hard work is being stolen from these individuals that run the show. It's not right. It's not right. So that's why I do the things that I do, and that's why I try to make these videos, because it makes me sick, the whole thing. But anyway, I appreciate everybody being with me. I appreciate all of you being in here. We got 83 people up in here. I appreciate you spending your Saturday night here. This is where I am most of my time. I can assure you, I'm not out partying, not out doing anything. I'm just working day in, day out. If you choose to follow me on the social medias, I would really appreciate it. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to have a little bit of balance going on the social medias out there. And so I plan to get the big goal for me right now is I have one employee so far, and I'm planning to have up to 3-4 employees as I continue to grow. And I'm getting I don't want to give away all the things that I'm working on right now, but put it this way, as more gets off of my shoulders, more content is going to go out. I want to focus on being the content, and I want to focus on being the orchestrator of Mineral Exchange rather than doing every single job. So when it comes to shipping, invoicing, photography, uploading, talking with consigners, all these things, I need more help around that. So if you're interested in being part of that, shoot me an email. If you want to be part of the stuff that I'm building, shoot me an email. I can promise you this, Mineral Exchange is going to the top. There's no doubt about it. That or I die, one or the other, but it's going to the top. So if you want to be part of that, shoot me a message. Maybe we'll link. But I'm working on something and having a bigger operation. Talk about that. But all that information, the emails and all that is on the website. But I think people know what I do. So if you're interested in taking part of it, shoot me a message. Maybe the right person is watching this. You never know. I do not. And the one thing is, like, I'm so excited to grow a big company because the next day, I think 2023 is going to be a big leap year where things start expanding pretty fast. And I'm just excited because I get to hire the people that I want on the team, So it's like, it's exciting for me. So, because when I see a college resume and they're like, look at my college resume, I'm like, I don't want you at all. Like, I want the hustler living in the back of their car. That's the person I want to work with me. I want that one. I want the hustlers out there. I want the person that's good at using an iPhone. I want that person. I want that email. That's the email I want. I did not go to college. I dropped out, but I know how to use an iPhone like crazy. I know the next big thing on social media. I know how to make real videos for you. I know how to do this. I know that's the people I want on the team. People like that. But I digress. But I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you so much for all the support. Appreciate all the love. Thank you for spending your Saturday night here. Again, as usual, I was literally going to make this video a 30-minute video. Boom. We're at an hour and 15 minutes. That's what we do here. Appreciate all of you for being my therapist tonight. Hopefully we all learned something together. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you at the next video.